everybody, and welcome to Bits of Board, where we're talking board games, miniatures, cards, and dice. My name's Michael, and today we continue on our journey through Kingdom Death Monsters campaign. Can't believe we're into Lantern Year 18. It's a big one for us because stuff gets crazy from here on out. Whoa! So there's a couple of things for this one. We're going to actually start off not at the gearing up the survivors stage. We're actually going to jump into that settlement phase because I kind of stuffed up those innovations at the end of the last ep. So I'm going to go in, we're going to redraw those innovations, fix everything up, and continue on the journey. Now, you're probably going to notice that I filmed this believing that we were going to pick up the Barber Surgeon in the end. In fact, I didn't actually pick up the mistake until much later on in the settlement phase, next Lantern Year, and I was like, oh wait, how am I drawing sculpture when I already have pottery? And then my mind exploded. I realized what went wrong. So it may look like I get a little bit too excited for defeating the Screaming Antelope, but we're just going to have to roll with that. Anyway, let's dive into that settlement phase. All right, first off, we're going to fix up our innovation mishap from last ep. Gonna draw 4 cards, pick one. Hopefully we get a good one here. Sacrifice. Oh, I'm sick of seeing that one. We do get to have a look at scrap smelting, cooking, and then nightmare training. Let's have a look at these. Nightmare training we've seen a couple of times. This gives us the opportunity to spend survival, and then we get a 30% chance of gaining something good out of this innovation. So on an 8 to a 9, we can gain 1 weapon proficiency level, which is fantastic. Or on a 10 plus, we can gain 1 permanent accuracy or strength. It's it's pretty epic if you can roll well. The cooking innovation, it gives us +1 endeavor when we return into the settlement phase. This is pretty great straight up. It also boosts our survival limit and gives us access to the cooking story event, which is pretty cool, and we can use some of our vermin and stuff there. Next up, we have scrap smelting, which gives us a way to turn scrap into iron, and it also unlocks sort of the blacksmith. We've still got to spend 6 bone and 3 scrap, so it's an expensive location, but one I would be fairly happy to have. Lastly, we have sacrifice, which is we can sort of cash in any extra population that we might have for the opportunity to lose disorders or to gain a bit of insanity. I don't think we quite have enough survivors milling around doing nothing to warrant sacrifice, so let's consider the other ones. Nightmare training would be solid, but these two are where it's at for me right now. Like, I would love to have that additional endeavor, and then I would also love to get into the blacksmith side of things. Probably don't have enough iron to warrant this, or maybe we do. Ooh, all right. I'm going to risk it here. I think scrap smelting could be amazing for us. I don't know if we've got everything that we need to start building there, but we are going to have to start building there soon. Oh, it's either this or cooking. All right, let's lock it in. Let's lock in scrap smelting. All right, that's done. Let's prepare our departing survivors and head off for the hunt. It is going to be a Screaming Antelope hunt because, well, I was hoping to get the Barber Surgeon settlement location, but that ain't gonna happen. So we're just gonna have to do it for the resources because ain't nobody pays out resources like the Antelope. Let's do it. All right, first survivor out of the gates, we have Null. Nothing insane going on. Well, he is insane with 3 insanity, but nothing crazy going on his gear grid as far as affinities or any bonuses. The main thing we've got going on here is the Whisker Harp. On arrival, will grant each survivor 1 survival, and the Blood Paint, that's going to allow him to attack with both the Steel Shield and the Beast Knuckles at the same time. Now, the Steel Shield is his main weapon of choice here. He is going for shield weapon specialization, and if he can land a hit this hunt, he is going to have that specialization, which is very, very cool. 1 step closer to mastery. Now, he has the leather armor, which allows him to ignore bash, but of course grants +1 armor to each of his hit locations. Yeah, that's it going on for him. I may as well take this opportunity to show that all of our survivors will gain the Fist and Tooth specialization, which was unlocked by Eva's Fist and Tooth Mastery. This means that any survivor may stand if knocked down at the start of the monster's turn or the survivor's turn. So it just gives a little bit of flexibility when we choose to recover. Aside from that, though, that's about it. Null does actually have the Zero Presence fighting art, which grants him an additional strength when attacking from the monster's blind spot, and it has this other little caveat, which is kind of cool. It doesn't matter where he's attacking from, he is always considered to be in the monster's blind spot. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Next up, we have Ceres, who's rocking the arc bow. She's working on her bow proficiency and getting very close to specialization. Again, if she can land a hit this showdown, she's going to advance to bow specialization, which is honestly quite the landmark for us. Our bowwomen's do not last too long. Now, Ceres has the blue and the red connected affinities on the Rawhide Vest, granting +1 evasion, and is rocking the Bone Pickaxe. If we're actually smart and lay our mineral gathering event somewhere after the Overwhelming Darkness space, we actually might get to take part on the much more interesting mineral gathering events, so fingers crossed there, guys. Now, Ceres has the Unconscious Fighter fighting art, which means it takes 7 bleeding tokens to kill her. And on top of that, she's got the Tumble fighting art, which gives her a 50-50 chance of dodging any collision that may come her way. Now we've also got the Rawhide armor going on, which gives +1 armor to all hit locations, and again a 50-50 chance of gaining 1 survival after spending it. So expect us to be, surging and dashing our way across the battlefield. Should also note that Ceres has a -1 to her accuracy thanks to an old broken arm injury. All right, next up we've got Sif, and she's got a couple of cool things going on. We gain +1 strength thanks to the base ability on her Monster Tooth necklace, but because we've got 2 red affinities on the gear grid, we actually gain an additional token as well. And because we've got these connected ones over here, we'll gain +1 movement, which is pretty useful. Now, Sif is going the Lion Beast Katar, the dual-wielding Katars here, basically, which means when she attacks, she's going to be able to add the speed of the 2 together. Most excellent stuff. Now, just to keep things interesting, I've got the Finger of God's Spear down here. Now, we're probably not going to be using it. I really just wanted it to grab that second red affinity there. But, worst case scenario, we need a little bit of reach. Yeah, we've got something going on there. Now, Sif has the Ambidextrous fighting art, which isn't going to come into play today. Ambidextrous gives the paired ability to any weapons that we might have in our gear grid, but we're not going to be using it simply because our Katars, they already have paired, so maybe we can find a way to use it, but I doubt she'll be making use of it out here. She's also got the Prey Disorder, which prevents her from spending survival unless she's insane. Now, she has 6 points of insanity, so she is insane, so that's good there. She also suffers from seizures. During the showdown, whenever you suffer damage to your head location, you are knocked down. That's just a little bit of an annoyance there. Now, we are rocking the full set of the White Lion armor, which not only grants the extra armor to each hit location, but your weapons are your claws. Gain +1 speed and 2 strength when attacking with daggers or Katars. Now, I always forget this one, right? So I am going to chuck a couple of tokens down here on the card to remind me. Hopefully that means we'll be using this ability during the showdown. Lastly, we've got Freya. She's going to be playing around with the Scrap Sword today. She is 2 points away from getting her Sword Mastery, so this is going to be a lot of fun. Now, the sword specialization, which she's currently got, gives her this ability. When attacking with a sword, after drawing hit locations, make a wound attempt and then select a hit location to resolve with that result. Pretty cool. Now, I couldn't get deadly on the scrap sword, so I just gave her a lucky charm. Pretty much the same effect here. It gives her the +1 luck. And we've got the leather shield over there as well, which is going to give an even bigger bonus to armor. Stacking with that Screaming Armor bonus, which is +2 armor to all hit locations. Awesome. Now, the Screaming Armor also gives us the Skewer ability, which makes our Slam ability a lot stronger. But unless we're using a spear, this doesn't really work out for us. Now Freya has the extra sense fighting art. You may dodge 1 additional time per round. She's also got Crazed, which gives her, on a perfect hit, gain +1 insanity. And of course she has Tumble, which gives her that 50-50 chance to avoid any collision. That's about it for Freya, other than the fact she carries her beloved rock, which means we've got to keep 1 space on the gear grid free so she can hold her beloved rock. Alright, that's it for our departing team. Let's send them on out for the hunt. Alright, we got the crew together at the starting space on the hunt track. All the way out in the distance, we have our level 2 Screaming Antelope. Hello! And over here we've got our mineral gathering hunt event that we've strategically placed over the overwhelming Darkless line. Hooray! If you've been watching since last episode, you'll know I made some poor decisions regarding the placement of that event last time. It's not going to prevent us mucking around with the herb gathering event though, because that is number 1. That is going to be the very first event card that our survivors come under. Alright, first hunt event in. Let's go. Dead antelope. The survivors are struck by the scent of rotting meat wafting from a hulking corpse ahead. The event revealer may lead the survivors to investigate. If they do, gain 1 random vermin resource, 2 random screaming antelope resources, and roll 1d10 on a result of 7+. The survivors are startled by the arrival of the antelope's killer, a white lion. End the hunt now. Start a showdown with the white lion 1 level higher than the quarry or highest level available using its setup rules. Add a dead monster terrain card to its showdown. Vermin is great to have, okay? Let's just start with that. But I'm not feeling super lucky here. A level 3 white lion, I think that would be too much for us to handle right now. I'm going to call this one in, and we're going to roll the random hunt table. Let's see how we go. All right, that is going to be 80. Oh no. Hang on, let me get this one in there. Can you see that? Yes, you can. Lovelorn Rock. The survivors pass a ring of stones with an unassuming boulder at the center. Each survivor rolls 1d10. The lowest scoring survivor, randomized in case of ties, becomes a straggler. The straggler hefts the boulder, it's heavy, and promises to carry it everywhere, forever in love. They must always leave 1 space in their gear grid empty, as it contains their beloved rock. Record this on your survivor sheet. The rock can be lost or archived like other gear. If it is lost, the survivor mourns their beloved and reclaims the space in their gear grid. This is the very rock that Freya is carrying right now. Boy, I hope she is the straggler this time around, because if she can lose her rock to gain another rock, well, that's better than someone else having to discard something, am I right? Odds are good because Null, Ceres, and Sif all have the prepared ability gained through the courage track. Freya does not, so this is why she probably got it in the first place. Alright, we'll start rolling for Null. 5 at the top. Plus the Hunt XP, that's 9. Good start. Ceres, what do you get? 6. Plus 6 is 12. There is no way Freya can beat that one at the moment. What about Sif? 2. Ooh. 2 plus 4 is 6. Freya we want her to roll a 6 or under here. Ideally a 5 or under. Let's go. Oh no. Sif is our straggler. And that means she has to carry her rock. She's been hanging around Freya for too long. But that means we've got to get rid of something from the gear grid. Oh no! The cheapest and easiest item to make here is our Monster Tooth necklace. It does mean she's going to lose 2 strength tokens with it, but I see no other option here. Alright, so we've discarded that. Let me record the fact that she too has her beloved rock. Oh, alright, maybe we should have tried to go the level 3 white lion. Alright, let's move our survivors into the next hunt event stage, a random hunt. Let's roll. Oh, 44. Alright, this one is Opportunists. While investigating their quarry's tracks, the survivors realize they are hunting not one, but two monsters. The two sets of tracks soon separate, leaving the event revealer to pick which tracks to follow. If they follow the larger tracks, continue hunting as normal. If they follow the smaller tracks, start the showdown immediately. At the start of the showdown, the monster suffers 5 wounds. If the survivors are victorious, they gain half the basic resources and half the monster resources rounded down from rewards in the aftermath. That would mean a very quick fight for us. Look, let's just stay the course. We'll keep hunting our big antelope. I know it'd mean a quicker video and all that sort of stuff, but I just can't pass up on the resources, guys. You know me. All right, let's move on into the next hunt for space. And we get the Vomit Pile card. The survivors find the half-digested remains of their quarry's last meal. Each survivor may scavenge, gaining 1 courage, and must roll on the table below. Alright, I love this one. This is a fantastic hunt event. Everybody is going to be scavenging here. Firstly, +1 courage, and then we roll, and we get a 3. Sickening archive all consumable gear. No consumables in the gear grid, so nothing to worry about there. On to series. A 6. You find something undigested and eat it. Gain +1 survival. She's already at max, so nothing to worry about there. On to Sif. Let's roll. A 9, big one. The antelope is clearly sick, vomiting up pieces of itself. Gain +1 understanding and 1 random screaming antelope resource. What do we get? And bang, a shank bone. All right, we'll add that to the loot pile. Lastly, we have Freya. An 8. Ooh, that is +1 survival as well. All right. That's it for that hunt event. Onwards to the next one. Am I right? We are getting closer to that overwhelming darkness stage. Random event. Let's grab our dice and roll. All right, that's going to be 40. Dream. The event revealer dreams of the upcoming hunt. They stand before the great beast, weapons ready, but it strikes them down. If the event revealer has 3 or more courage, or if any survivor is a savior, the event revealer is emboldened by the dream and gains +1 evasion. Just a token. Otherwise, the dream is merely rattling, suffer 1 brain damage. If any survivor has the Twilight Sword, they dream of indiscriminate slaughter. Add the murder settlement event to the timeline 1d5 years from now. Well, thankfully, all of our survivors here have that 3+ courage, so I don't have to pick anyone at random because I suck at choosing the event revealer. We will, however, randomize to see who gets that token. Let's go odds and evens down the bottom there. All right, odds at the top. We'll go odds and evens left and right. Evens on the right, that's going to be Freya. +1 evasion is solid. All right, on to the next random event. Let's roll, see what we get. Ooh, 5 is that. I always get excited when we see the early ones. All right, here we have flesh fields. Ahead, the stone faces on the ground give way to a field of man-sized fleshy boils sprouting thick black hair. The sinuous terrain radiates moist heat. As they travel, every survivor suffers heat exhaustion, losing 1 survival. Boo. The event revealer rolls 1d10. If any survivor has a sickle, they help clear a path by cutting back the thick black hair. Add +4 to the result. Alright, I didn't pick an event revealer because that's how I roll. Let's just say Null is leading the way, shield held high. So let's roll for the flesh fields. Now, thankfully, someone does have a sickle. Who's got that? Oh my god, did I not bring the sickle? Oh, what an idiot. I'm sure I'll go back and edit out that early part of me happily harvesting the Arcanthus. Ugh. How disappointing is that? All right, so we're just going to roll, and whatever we roll, we roll. A 7. It's hot and gross, but the survivors pass through the flesh fields with no complications. Bravo, team, despite the fact that no one brought the sickle. All right, here we are at the overwhelming darkness space. Finally, we move in, and we've got some decisions to make. Now, overwhelming darkness is such a brutal location because honestly, we can lose survivors just at a poor dice roll here. We have a choice. Each survivor must walk their own path. Insane survivors walk the path of the insane, while survivors with 3 or more courage, they walk the path of the brave. In the case that a survivor shares both that level of insanity and courage, we get to choose which way they go. Now, considering bad things happen on pretty much everything, the least bad things happen on the path of the brave. So we are going to go ahead and roll for everybody there. Let's line them up. I'm going to roll some dice and assign them to each. Oh, I don't like those low rolls. And a 4, all right. Our 2 over here, that is Freya. Oh, I hope she's not dead. You find a half-dead survivor covered in translucent moths. Ignore them, losing 1 courage, or spend all your survival to save them, gaining +1 population. Ooh. A free population. It's going to cost us a ton of survival, but I think we should do it. My reasoning is this is a fairly standard encounter for us. We do pretty well at the Screaming Antelope, but +1 free survivor. Oof. I like it. Let's do it. Now the other 3, they're all 4s and 6s. They all come under play in this one here. A massive whale swims overhead. Your guts quiver with its booming cries. You vomit in fear, but keep a brave face. Gain -1 evasion token. After this event, all other survivors gain +1 survival from your bold display. Alright, so that means Sif, Ceres, and Null all gain a -1 evasion token. On the other hand, it means all survivors gain 3 survival, which really does help Freya out here. Let's hope that survival is going to be enough. Alright, great news. We are done with Overwhelming Darkness, so we move to our Mineral Gathering story event. And I'm just double checking, yes, Ceres does have the bone pickaxe, so we will be doing this one legit. Alright, with this one, every survivor with a pickaxe rolls on the Mineral Gathering table up here. We only have 1 survivor with the pickaxe, and that is Ceres, so we're only going to be rolling once. Let's see how we go. And it's a 4, not great. Oh, there it is in the top. Gain +1 Broken Lantern basic resource. A sudden rock slide catches you off guard. Suffer 2 event damage to a random hit location. Oh, that's annoying. Alright, so Ceres suffers 2 damage to the arms location. Alright. Let's continue on, going to the actual antelope hunt event here. What do we get? Grazing field. Arcanthus leaves sprout from the crevices in the stone ground. The survivors spend time gathering and eating the small leaves. Each survivor may heal 1 hit location of their choice, restoring all injury levels and armor points. Hey! If any survivor has a sickle, which we don't, they gain the fresh Arcanthus strange resource, and then we've got to roll a random hunt. Well, that's pretty good for Ceres. She gains those 2 points of armor back to the arms location. And all we got to do now is roll that random hunt event. 61. Alright, this one is Frozen Lightning. A storm sweeps over the survivors. Deep purple lightning flashes overhead. The bolts freeze in mid-air and rain down on the survivors as jagged, glowing spikes. Each survivor rolls 1d10. The lowest scoring survivor, or survivors in case of ties, becomes a straggler. A bolt crashes beside... Alright, let's do the straggler thing first, and then I'll read the results there. Not looking good for Freya. Let's roll for her first. Uh-oh. All right, let's go from the top. Null here. He's got way more than Freya. Let's go for Ceres. And let's go for Sif. Okay, so it's definitely Freya. Probably could have told us that from that very first roll there. A bolt crashes beside the straggler, catching them in an explosion of razor-sharp crystals. They suffer 1d5 event damage to 2 random hit locations. Archive all fragile gear in their gear grid. I think we're okay there. Let me double check. Yeah, all that screaming armor looks good. We've got a scrap sword, round leather shield, and a lucky charm, all of which is not fragile, so we are safe. But 1d5 damage to 2 hit locations. This is gonna suck. Alright, so that's 2 points of damage to the first hit is to the legs, and the second hit, that's to the chest. Alright, a pretty brutal start for us there, but it is all over. Our survivors move into the same spot as the Screaming Antelope, and we are off to face him in a showdown. Let's do this. Alright, standard level 2 antelope encounter here. We have the beast all the way up the back there and our survivors down the bottom. Now the antelope is of course going to get the first round here, so let's just have a quick look at what he's got going on. As usual, he has his 2 traits, if I can ever get them to focus. One is diabolical, which means he attempts to trample survivors in his trample path. And then of course he's got trample over here, which means he does a little bit of damage when he collides with these survivors. So they're his main abilities. This being a level 2 encounter, he has a +1 damage and +1 speed token, making him that little bit more deadly throughout the encounter. Shall we begin? Yes, we shall. Alright, first AI card here we have Buck. This is a mood. At the start of each monster turn, target and attack any survivors in the blind spot. We've had this one before and it just means we can't really sneak in for that blind spot attack, except for Null of course, as he's considered to be in the blind spot everywhere. Well, that's it for his AI card. Next, we resolve that diabolical trait. If someone is in his trample path, he's going to run directly at them, moving straight through. But because there is no one in the path at the moment, he runs straight ahead forward. Now, he has, that's right, 8 movement points. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's going to rush right up in front of that long grass that we placed down there for our survivors. Alright, all that resolved, let's dig in and see how much of this Screaming Antelope we can chop away. We're going to go ahead and start with Sif, and she is going to activate with both her activation and movement to pounce, and she's going to jump right up there next to the Screaming Antelope. She moves 3 spaces and then activates a weapon. In doing so, she gains the bonus to accuracy and bonus to strength here. Now, of course, she's going to be activating with those katars, so we're going to be rolling a ton of dice. 5 dice, 6 plus. Let's see how we go. Oh, 2 massive hits in there. Let's get those out of the way. 3 hits though, pretty solid. Unfortunately, we don't get any bonuses for those perfect hits, but we now get to wound 3 locations. So let's find out where. Giant Teeth, a super dense location, the Furry Throat, and the Restless Shank. Now, no frail weapons here, so that is all good. Let's figure out what order we're going to go for here. The Restless Shank has a wound reflex which will initiate a back kick, which is going to damage a survivor in the blind spot. Nothing to worry about there. The Furry Throat, that gives us an effect if we hit with a club or a shield. And then the Giant Teeth, that's just got that super dense location. So let's just keep the order there. We have a total of 8 strength here, which means we're going to be wounding on 2s or more. Let's go for it. A 6. That is most definitely a wound. Let's lose an AI card. We move to the Furry Throat. Go again. A 6 again. We're going 6, 6, 6. Giant Teeth. And that is a critical wound right there. Now this does actually have a critical wound hit on it. Gain 1 Screaming Antelope resource. Yes, please. We gain a Beast Steak. We'll add that to our shank bone, and we are doing very nicely with 3 wounds so far. Now we're going to spend a point of survival. We actually lose the benefits from our pounce here, but we're still going to be rolling 5 dice. Sure, it is going to be hitting on 7s, but we're starting off pretty well. All right, that looks to be 3 more hits. Love it. Find out where. The Restless Eye. This is a first strike location, and I do not like this one. Restless Tiny Hands, and the third one, that is the Ferocious Spasm. Now, the Restless Eye, this is a first strike location, which means we have to hit this one first, and this one is bad for us. The Screaming Antelope's massive eyes glisten with human-like fear. If the attacker is insane, cancel all hits and end their attack. Otherwise, the attacker suffers 1 brain damage. Unfortunately, Sif has 6 points of insanity, making her properly insane, so we cancel all those hits. Damn! Just move Freya back into her spot. I don't know why I moved her there. I think it was fear of dice, but I don't remember doing it. Let's go ahead and move her in straight in front of the antelope there. Now she's gaining a benefit of cover from the long grasp, gaining +2 to her evasion. Very nice. But for the moment, let's just concentrate on attacking. 2 dice, the sword usually hits on a 5+. Freya, though, has 3 accuracy, which means we only need 2s here. 2 dice, 2+, a 3, and a 6. Well done. 2 hits, find out where. The Restless Muzzle, if you hit with a club or a shield, we have not. And the Giant Mouth, which has a reflex. So this is going to go off either way here. If attacking with a melee weapon and the wound roll for this location is a 1 or a 2, the monster consumes your weapon, archive the gear, and cancel the attack. I don't like that. I do enjoy this weapon. Alright, let's start with the Restless Muzzle. We've got 7 total strength, so 3+. 4, very good. And the Giant Mouth, come on, no 1s, no 2s. Hey, massive hit there. Alright. Critical wound, gain 1 Screaming Antelope resource, thank you, and it gains a persistent injury, vomit blood. When the monster collides with a survivor, they are drenched in blood and gain 1d10 insanity. Oh boy, that's a lot of insanity. We draw another shank bone, thank you. Thankfully, we did not lose our weapon. Freya is going to go ahead and surge and attack again. 2 dice, 2+. 2 hits. Gnarled Horns, which has a failure, and the Restless Ear, which is another shield or club hit. Let's check out this failure. If the attacker is adjacent to the monster, their weapon is stuck. Tugging frantically, it comes loose, but you stumble and suffer knockback 5. Okay, let's hit that Restless Ear first. Again, going for 3s. That's a 4 there. First wound, a good wound. Let's go for Gnarled Horns, which is a 5 up there. No failure, no negative effects. We're clearing through here. The idea is we want to knock this all out in one go. Let's get Null into the action here. He's going to jump in front of the antelope there, of course gaining the benefits from the long grass. He's going to activate his blood paint, so we're first going to be striking with the shield. 1 dice, usually hitting on a 6+. We get a 5+ thanks to his accuracy, and then a 4+ because technically he's attacking from the blind spot thanks to his 0 presence secret fighting art. 4+. 7. Awesome. Love hitting with this thing. We get the Restless Hoof. It's not one of those shield hit locations. Dang! It does have a failure though, so we better not stuff this up. Combined strength on the weapon and his natural strength is going to be 10, so as long as we don't hit a 1 here, woo, breaking through on a 2. How lucky is that? Alright, no failure and another wound. That's not all though. He attacks now with the Beast Knuckles. This is the second activation from his blood paint. 2 dice, going for 4s here. Oh, 1 misses. There's a 3 underneath the antelope, but we do get a perfect hit in there. Now the Beast Knuckle has a special ability. It gives the creature a -1 toughness token until the end of the attack. It's not a round thing, unfortunately. And I really doubt we'll need it because he's got a fair amount of strength here. We have 4 points on the Knuckles alone, plus his 4 natural strength. That -1 toughness, yep, we just need the 2+. I didn't even draw a hit location. Let's do that. We get the delicate inverted knee. That's better. Alright, so he's got the toughness. We're hitting on anything except for a 1. Ugh. Now we get the club or shield hit. Unfortunately, this attack is neither. Anything except for a 1. 2. Sneaking in there. Good hit though. Null's going to surge and attack again. I think we're going to have to hit with those Knuckles again because we've got a better chance with them, I think. 2 dice, 4+. A 1 and a 2. Horrible, horrible attack there. All right. Now this is a 1 dice attack and it usually hits on a 6+, but she has a -1 to her accuracy, which means we're gonna have to hit a 7 here. All right, wish us luck. Oh, it's a 2. All right, so we miss with that attack. Let's surge and take another shot, this time with the hollow point arrow. Again, we need that 7+. A 4, no, oh no. We're going to get no benefits here from this ammo. We can't even use it again because these are once off during the showdown. Far out. Okay, well that's it for the Survivor's activation. We move into the Antelopes and yeah, I'm pretty sure we're going to get crushed here. Let's figure out what he's going to do first. First card, Bite. Closest survivor in field of view. That is going to be any of our 3 survivors out the front here. All right. Got our card for Sif and 1 each for the other 2. So let's randomize and let's figure out who's going to get bit here. And bang, this one. Okay, so that is going to be Freya. Now with the bonuses the Antelope gets from its tokens, this is going to be a 2-speed attack, each hit doing 3 damage. Now thankfully she's hanging out in the long grass there, so she's going to get a bit of a bonus to her evasion. It'll be 2 dice hitting on 6s. This is pretty good. Unfortunately, both attacks hit. Let's find out where. 1 to the chest and 1 to the waist. Now we could go ahead and dodge both of them thanks to that extra sense fighting art, but I think we'll just take it for the time being. We'll see if we need to spend that survival. Yeah, we'll just take it. Ooh, that would actually leave her with 0 points of armor at the body location. I'll tell you what, let's dodge this one here and we'll cop the bite to the waist. All right. Now, after damage, there is an after damage effect here. Bleed 1, so unfortunately, Freya gains a bleeding token. Oh no. Okay, so now we move to the Diabolical card here, and we have 3 survivors again in that field of view. Here are our 3 cards. Let's figure out who is going where. It's so hard to shuffle 3 cards. You can't do like the flick, I don't know. All right, bang. It is going to be Null, which is not ideal because this means he's going to hit both of them. All right, so the Antelope full moves straight ahead and hits the board edge. Both survivors here get collided with and landed on. Now, thankfully, Freya has the tumble fighting art, so we're going to roll a dice on a 6+. We can put her there without suffering any damage or negative effects from the collision. This 2 means we failed. So she is going to be knocked down and is going to suffer 2 damage to the head location. And thanks to our persistent injury, which I really don't like at the moment, she's going to gain 1d10 insanity. Oh, thank goodness that is just a 1 there. This brings her up to 13 insanity. I don't know if you remember this, but if you finish this encounter with the Screaming Antelope on 20 or more insanity, your survivor runs off and dies. So we really don't want her to get collided with again, pretty much. Now Null, he's got no such collision avoidance, so we're going to lay him on down there with the thing on. He's going to suffer 2 damage. to the arms location, and he will then receive 3 points of insanity. Alright, that's not so bad. That's the end of the antelope's location, and thanks to all of our survivors having that fist and tooth specialization, everybody's just gonna stand up. Yeah. Let's see if we can't get Ceres a hit with her bow. We gotta be a little bit tricky here to get this one working. Firing a bow actually costs the movement point and the activation point. So in order for us to get 2 shots in here, we're gonna have to surge now to gain an extra activation point, and we'll use that with our current movement point. 1 dice, we need this 7+. And it is a big hit. Can you see that? Look at that! No bonuses this time around though, we just make the hit, which is good enough for me. Well, yes we do. Okay, Restless Back. This is a club or a shield hit location, so we're just gonna roll here. The arc bow itself is 9 strength, so we're just gonna need anything except for a 1 to make this. Let's do it. And it's a 5. We do well, we get the hit, and I can get off the edge of my seat because that means we've made a hit with all of our survivors. Yay! I'm actually going to get Ceres out of here now so she doesn't get trampled. Let's move her. Oh, we're going to need to spend a survival to dash. And she's going to move just onto the diagonal. Actually, let's get her all the way up next to the face up there. So maybe next turn, if we really have to, we'll get her on top there. Freya is going to attack next. 2 dice, 2+. 2. Snake Eyes. Wow. We're rolling terribly today. Can we surge and do that again, please? She has 1 point of survival left. Come on, girl. Let's make some hits here. A 2 and a perfect hit. That's actually 2 hits for us, which is brilliant. We get the Wailing Slide, and all of my happiness just dashes away. This is our trap card here. The Screaming Antelope panics, its undermouth unleashing an inhuman wail. It bucks wildly and leaps into the air. The attacker is doomed. All survivors adjacent to the monster suffer 2 brain damage per monster level, knockback 5, and are knocked down. Hooray! That's actually really good. We can lose a couple of points of insanity from Freya. I love it. The monster lands. Oh, let's just do that real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Farewell, Freya. Be knocked down. Same to you, Null. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way out there. And then the monster lands on its belly and begins to slide on its teeth. Turn the monster directly away from the attacker and full move forward in a straight line. Uh-oh. On collision, non-deaf survivors gain 1 random disorder in addition to normal collision rules. The attacker is over here, which means the antelope is going to face the right, and with 8 points of movement, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, is going to hit the corner, sliding right on top of Null. This is the first time this one's actually connected. Alright, so Null is going to suffer a bit more collision, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 knock back. So, 2 points of damage to the arms, 1d10 insanity, 6 points there, far out. And disorder, Rageaholic. Your rage boils out of control, causing you to see red at the slightest provocation. Whenever you suffer a severe injury, also suffer the frenzy brain trauma. It's kind of interesting, but I don't want disorders. Right, that was brutal. Well, luckily for us, it's still our turn. Sif is so far out, I don't know if she can get there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So how many movement points? She's only got 5 movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look, we're going to have to dash our way over. Sif, she's all the way over here. There she is. Look, all the way in the side there. Now she's going to dash on over. Well, she's going to start by using her regular movement. 5 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom. We're going to dash here. And we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to risk it all by hanging out in that blind spot. 5 dice here. We're attacking with those dual katars. What do we need? 6+. 6+, because we're in the blind spot. Let's do it. 1, one hit. 5 dice, 1 hit. Bad rolling. Oh, let me quickly shuffle that hit location deck up. Where is our hit? The pallet. This has a failure on it. Hopefully we don't incur that. Let's roll for the wound. We need a 3+. And it's a 5. Yeah! We get the wound. And we're getting pretty close to the end of the encounter. It looks like there are 3 AI cards left. We surge and attack again. Another 5 dice, please. This time, if we could just get more than 1 hit, that's a bit better. 1, 2, 3 hits. First is the restless chest. Second, the restless shoulder. And then the restless inner thigh. It's all of the restless hits. Cool. Now, the restless inner thigh is always a favorite, because if we actually manage to wound here, this beast gains a -1 to movement. The restless shoulder, well, we're going to incur an attack there. And then the restless chest, that's going to be a full move forward in a straight line. I don't like any of these. Far out. Let's go like that. This is going to be interesting. 3 pluses. Oh, I should have done this a different way, damn. Our Lion Beast Katars have deadly, which means that 9 is a critical wound. This is kind of cool. The antelope gains a persistent injury, a degenerating wound. The monster's injury worsens if it moves. Whenever the screaming antelope moves, it suffers an additional wound. Cool. Discard this card at the end of the next round. So that'll be the end of the next survivor's activation. So I will keep this nearby. Let's find out about this restless shoulder though. 3+. It's a 6, not a 9, unfortunately. It is a wound. Your blow clips the screaming antelope's shoulder and it jumps back. Turn to face the attacker, then without turning, move the monster 1 space directly away from the attacker. Cancel all hits now out of range. We don't have to worry about, well, we can't really move back there, so we're okay. I wonder if he moves to the side. No. Let's just keep him there. It does mean we have to roll for this restless chest wound, and I'm really hoping we either miss or get a critical wound, because this reflex, damn it, sucks. Alright, we get the wound. Huzzah! However, this reflex. Turn the screaming antelope to face the attacker, already done, and full move forward in a straight line. So much collision. There's no break in the flow or anything like that. We are just gonna get smacked around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's just sitting partially on the long grass over there. Sif suffers bash. 2 damage to the arm's location. And how many points of insanity? 5, far out. She's up to 11. Null gets the same. 2 damage to the head location. And how many insanity? 7, whoa! That is 17 points of insanity he's got. I'll tell you what, he's never coming back to fight the screaming antelope. Far out. Alright, that is way too much insanity. But you know what? That is it. Thanks to our restless inner thigh critical wound, the monster suffers a wound. And he has no more cards left in the AI deck, which means for... Chop. I'm so clumsy today, but that is the end of our screaming antelope. Check that. Alright, a good solid antelope encounter there. Even if it only lasted 2 game rounds, still a lot of fun as always. So we run through the aftermath. Each survivor gains 2 hunt XP, and seeing as though everyone hit with their chosen weapons, everyone gains 1 point of weapon proficiency. Both Null and Sif cross their 2nd age milestones, so let's roll for them. Alright, we're going to be rolling for improved reflexes. So let's begin with Null. 2 dice. A 7 and a 6. We get 13. 13 on our improved reflexes chart. Gain +1 permanent strength. Don't mind if we do. Let's do the same for Sif. 10. We get +1 strength as well. Nice. Null and Ceres both gain their weapon specializations. So Ceres has that bow specialization, which is pretty solid. When attacking with a bow, you may reroll any misses once. That's super useful for her, considering she's still missing that 1 point of accuracy. Null gains the weapon specialization for the shield. While a shield is in your gear grid, you are no longer knocked down after collision with a monster. While a shield is in your gear grid, add +1 to all hit locations. That is going to stack super nicely. We also gain the rewards, and this is where the fun stuff, this is the entire reason we doubled up on the Screaming Antelope encounter. Check it out. First off, we have to make sure that none of our survivors have 20 or more insanity, because they disappear and we lose them forever. Most we have is 17, and trust me, Null is never coming back to this encounter. Believe me. We do gain some extra bonuses here though. For a level 2 Screaming Antelope, we gain the 6 basic resources and 7 Screaming Antelope resources. But if the settlement has pottery, when they defeat a level 2+ Screaming Antelope, they gain the Barber Surgeon settlement location. Let's start off with the 6 basic resources. A questionable resource, a questionable resource, a broken lantern, a monster bone, a broken lantern, and oh, is that too many? No, monster hide. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well done. We also pick up 7 Screaming Antelope resources. That's right. The bladder, the pelt, a screaming brain. 4 is muscly gums. 5 is beefsteak. 6 is pelt, and 7 is also pelt. We add that to a pair of shank bones and a beast steak. We've done pretty well this encounter. 4 returning survivors, 4 endeavors to spend, unless someone's got that little bonus. Nah, no one tinkers, we just get the 4 there. We update our timeline, and it looks like we're moving into Lantern Year 19. Whoa! Now we have a random settlement event for this year. We gain Skull Eater. I don't like this one. Okay, randomly choose a returning survivor and give them +3 insanity. If there are no returning survivors, choose a survivor from the settlement to gain it. Okie dokie. All right, let's do it like this. So Null, Ceres, Sif, Freya. Oh boy. And we are gonna give this to Ceres. So we give her 3 insanity, which brings her up to 7. Seriously, she was the least insane survivor coming home then. The survivor consumes the skull of a deceased survivor. They awaken a hunger that cannot be stopped and roll on the table below. They gain the following impairment. When the murder or skull eater settlement events are drawn, this survivor is nominated. All right, we're rolling 1d10. Hope for the best here, please, please, something good. 6. The Skull Eater's activities go unnoticed. They gain +1 permanent strength and courage, but we add the murder settlement event to the timeline next year. Oh, next year is going to be a tough year for us. All right. Next, we do have a story event, but it's a Nemesis encounter, guys. Kingsman, level 2. Next year, our next video is going to be full on. Lucky, of course, is going to come out of retirement. I'm hoping he can be the one to land the final hit again, but that's, of course, if anyone actually survives it. This is going to be the toughest encounter far out. Let's make the most of what we've got in the meantime. We update the death count. No one's died just yet. And we move into the development stage. Actually, before we go on our shop, let's quickly innovate, just in case our innovation can unlocks another area to spend our endeavors. So we've got our hide, our bone, and our organ here, our endeavor. We cash those in, and let's draw from the innovation deck. I'm hoping we can get our sculpture innovation here, because, hey, love it. Sculpture, drums, damn. Nightmare training, and sacrifice. All right, there is a heavy favorite here, but let's quickly go through these. So sacrifice, this basically, it costs us population with the opportunity to either gain some insanity for our departing survivors, or we can potentially cure a disorder. This is very cool on its own, right? But it has this extra little caveat. If you could not depart this settlement phase, you may now do so, even if you are retired. This is the way that we can get our retired survivors back into the action. A fantastic innovation, but I don't think we need it just yet. Next, we have Nightmare Training. This gives us a 30% chance of gaining some goodies. We can gain +1 weapon proficiency on an 8 or a 9, or a 10 plus, we gain +1 permanent accuracy or strength. If we fail that, we have to kind of spend survival to either roll again, or if we roll a 1, spend survival to not die. Drums is a pretty interesting one. This will unlock a bunch of drum consequences, further expanding our options in the innovation deck. We can gain insanity, survival, or we can gain the rhythm chaser fighting art or synchronized strike secret fighting art. I haven't seen synchronized strike for a while. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think it's pretty decent. Then we have sculpture. This is probably the one that I want to get because it unlocks pottery, which will unlock potentially the barber surgeon, but I don't know if it's that good. All right, so this allows us to put up a fighting art from one of our survivors. They lose their fighting art, but we put it up as a kind of communal fighting art, and a survivor can spend an endeavor there to have a 50-50 chance of learning the recorded fighting art. Big stuff here, guys. All right, let's do sculpture. Let's get this done. And as a result, we add pottery into our draw deck, which means we could potentially pull this, one of our next innovations. All right, cool. Give me a sec to figure out what we're going to spend our resources on, and I'll be right back. So, we're going to start off and spend the endeavor at scrap smelting. Now, we're not going to do it for purification. I want to unlock this blacksmith because this thing is an absolute beast. It's going to cost us 6 bone and 3 scrap. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bone and 2 scrap, but I have a 3rd scrap sitting in resource storage along with 4 other broken lanterns. So we're doing okay there for the scrap side of things. So we'll cash those guys in, unlocking the blacksmith. This is such a massive, massive achievement for us. Now this has got some of the more potent end game material for us. Now I wouldn't be building it if we couldn't spend some resources there, and we're going to aim high, hitting those lantern greaves. Now these are a very powerful piece of armor, but of course they're going to cost us an arm and a leg. 1 iron and 5 leather. Now I've currently got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hide available, and so we're going to cash them in over at the leatherworker. So this is going to cost us our 3rd endeavor, and we're going to put 5 of those leather towards the lantern greaves and the other one in settlement storage. Now these things are an absolute beast. 5 points of armor on them, wowza. But if we can actually get our 3 connected affinities here, we gain +2 movement as well. And I know just which character is going to be wearing them next encounter. But yeah, the rest of this kit, that's going to cost us what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more iron we're going to need to get these out. Plus a handful of bone and a ton of leather and a bunch of organs as well. So that's pretty crazy, but hopefully we'll get there eventually. Now that just leaves our 4th endeavor to play around with. and everything has just fallen into place. So we have this wonderful card here, Records, where we can spend an endeavor to have a survivor laboriously create a volume about a monster they have defeated during their lifetime. Well, one of our oldest survivors, Puck, he's still got plenty of stories to tell. He's retired, but we're still able to use him in things like endeavors. And he happens to be one of the survivors that took on the level 2 Phoenix. So he is going to spend his later years in retirement writing a volume all about that beast. Now, this is absolutely awesome for a number of reasons, but most notably, he is our oldest survivor, our most experienced living survivor at this stage. And there is a murder event coming up. All right, all that out of the way, our survivors head off for their nemesis encounter with the level 2 King's Man. Lucky, pick up your spear. It's time to fight. All right, there we go, guys. We're up for a massive encounter next year with that King's Man level 2. Like I said, Lucky leading the charge there, but we're going to have to be really careful about who we take because honestly, we don't need anyone retiring with a murder event coming up. I don't want to play anything to chance here. We've got our target for murder and poor Puck, but we're going to keep him there, right? Yeah, it was a pretty fun encounter, despite the fact we didn't get our barber surgeon settlement location, but the blacksmith so totally makes up for it. Man, that thing is expensive, but it's going to tee us up for some of the most powerful gear in the game, not to mention one big-ass sword that we can craft thanks to our Portcullis adventures back in the day. Anyway, that's probably about all I got for you today. I think I mentioned, but this is probably the last video that I'm filming before heading off to New Zealand, so hopefully we can keep it all running smoothly. I'll work super hard once I get back, I promise. So thank you very much for watching all the way up here. If you've enjoyed the video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, do all those awesome YouTubey things that you guys can do to help this channel grow. Absolutely love your work out there. We are about done. So as always, my name's Michael. This is Bits Aboard. We'll catch you next time.